Hello friends, welcome back. In this session, we will understand clearly how to build convolutional autoencoders in Python with Keras. In the last couple of sessions, I discussed clearly about the autoencoders and the types of autoencoders. It is time for us to build one in this session, and it is an easy process. I hope you definitely like it and you follow it out in your machine. Right. What is autoencoder and how is it different from the normal existing PCA is clearly discussed in the previous sessions, and I brief you on that here. PCA, that is principal component analysis, uses linear transformation, whereas autoencoders use non-linear transformation. Now we are going to build a model, and the model is going to be run with or tested with not M1IST dataset. We have already seen M1IST dataset, and here what we use is not M1IST dataset, and it has got letters from A through J. And we have also imported the OS module that is going to help us out in utilizing the operating system functionalities that are available. So we have just clearly explained all these fundamentals, and it's time for us to go to the code. We need to import all the fundamental things like what we import in the earlier codes that we have written, and this is no different. I'm going to use Keras completely, and as I told you, we need to go with importing Keras first, and then I follow matplotlib, I import numpy, I need gzip because I'm going to unzip and use gzip for extracting the contents out of the dataset. I use input convolution 2D, max pooling 2D, upsampling 2D. This is for convoluting and deconvoluting. I now use RMS prop as optimizer. Now what is the next step? I need to talk about extracting the data from the dataset that we have got. So how do we do it? We build a function called extract data, and we need to pass the image dimension and total number of images. We have got np.fromBuffer method where we are going to convert the string stored in the variable buffer into numpy array of type 32, which means I'm converting it to math. Now next step is to reshape it properly, where you can understand that we are getting into the array has to be reshaped to a three-dimensional array or tensor. I mean, the first dimension will be the number of images, and the second and the third dimension, you can see that here the first dimension will be the number of images, the second and the third dimension are going to be the dimensions of the image, and finally what do you return? You return the numpy array data. That's it. Here what we have done, we are just making sure that we get the images properly handled here, and extract data is the method name that we have used here. So what is the next step? We have extracted the data. Now we need to go with extracting labels. That's what is the next step, and same is the content that you need to follow for extracting labels. Before you go into extract labels, we need to assign the trained data and the testing data, and the path has to be clearly specified without any issue there, and the number of images are also specified as 60,000 and 10,000 appropriately. Now extract labels, I told you, same is the case as what we have learned in the extract data method that we have developed. Same content, same procedure, but we use it for labels right now. So once this is done, the labels will be returned, and you can see that the next step is to assign trained labels and test labels from the appropriate path. That's it. Now what is the next step? I need to understand how the data set, how the images look like. So what do? I print the training set images, and I understand how many images are there. So you can see that the results are immediately available out here. 60,000, 28 cross 28 is the dimension that I have. Now similarly, I need to do that for test set. Now what I have done is for the training set, I do the same for test set. I get the shape of test set, and you can understand I've got 10,000 and 28 cross 28. Now what do? I created dictionary for the target class, and A through J is what I told you as the data set, and that's what is done. Now I'm just plotting, and plot figure is with fixed size 5 cross 5 is done. Now I'm going to display the first image in the training data. That is what is being updated right now, and I have given a title, and I'm going to display it, and you can see that it's displayed as F. This is just to tell you that we have got content inside it and displaying one of the contents from the training data. Similarly, I go with displaying one of the contents in the testing data, that is D, and you can see that. Now what is the next step? We go with data pre-processing. We will first convert each of the 28 cross 28 of the training data set into a matrix of 28 cross 28 cross 1, and which can be fed back into the network. So you can see that the training data is reshaped, and that's it is done. Now, the most important points are here, which you need to understand clearly. Here, I reshaped, and you can see that the reshaping happened for the training and the test data. Similarly, the next step is we need to make sure that the dimensions are all perfect and make sure that the type of the data is perfect. What is the type that we need? We need float 32. That's what I told you earlier, and we need float 32, I repeat. So how do you test it? Train underscore data dot d type. When you use that, you get the data type display. Similarly, test underscore data d type we are displaying, and you can see that the results are float 32 and float 32 respectively. Now, what is the next step to be done? The next step is simple, where we need to go ahead with the rescaling is the next step. Now what I'm doing, I'm going to rescale the training and the test data with the maximum pixel value of the training and the testing data. So the maximum pixel value is 255. So what do I do here? I rescale it, np.max train underscore data, np.max text underscore data. Once I do that, I get the rescaling done. So what is the next step? I need to go ahead and I repeat it, rescaling is an important step, and make sure that you got the values appropriately. Now I get that done. Train data equal to train data by np max of train underscore data. Similarly for the test data, and we are verifying if the maximum values are 1 here. I show it again. Here you can see that the maximum value should be 1 after rescaling, and that is to be verified. So np.max train underscore data, test underscore data, and it is 1 here. Now what do we need to do? We need to go with the traditional process of training and then testing. So how do we train? We take 70-30 normally. We can go with 80-20 here, and I have taken that 80-20. So I have specified test size as 0.2, which is nothing but 20% goes to testing and 80% goes to training. Now I use sklearn and I import training test split. So this will help me in splitting the content, and train x, valid x, train ground, valid ground, and I pass these as parameters where I specified the test state clearly. This is a very important step which you should not forget, and this is where we split the content of the training and testing appropriately. And again, I'm telling you, you can try it out in the trial and error method to see how exactly the results work for 30% or 20% split, and make sure that you select appropriate value. Now comes the most important part of the entire story, which is nothing but the convolutional autoencoder. I am going to implement convolutional autoencoder from here. So the images are of the size 28 cross 28 cross 1, or you can call it a 784 dimensional vector. Now what do? We need to convert the image matrix to an array, and we need to rescale it from 0 to 1 and reshape it to the size of 28 cross 28 cross 1 and feed this to the network. So what I mean is, I am going to rescale it and feed it into the, reshape it and feed it into the network. That's what is going to be done, and we are going to use extensively the same process that we have used earlier, where we have gone with using max pooling, using the upscaling, all those things we have done. We have used the epochs, and all those I'm going to use. Now the batch size is 28. You can see that epochs 50 and xy is 28 and 28, and I have defined input image also. Now what are all the things that are available in the autoencoder? I told you this very clearly. There are 3 parts: input, output, and hidden layer. I mean, encoder, decoder are the main components that you need to talk about technically. So what is encoder? The encoder will be the first layer where we are going to have 32 filters of size 3 cross 3, followed by max pooling. Max pooling is nothing but downsampling. Remember, convolution is all about downsampling max pooling followed by the convolution process. Most of the time we have done it. Now what is the second layer? The second layer will have 64 filters of size 3 cross 3, followed by another downsampling layer, which is nothing but max pooling again. What is the final layer? The final layer is going to be an encoder which will have 128 filters of dimension 3 cross 3. Now encoding is all done. What is decoding? It is opposite to encoding. What did you do there? We did a downsampling there in encoding. So what we will do? We will do an upsampling here. So how do we do it? The first layer will have 128 filters, size 3 cross 3, upsample it. The second layer will have 64 filters, size 3 cross 3, upsample it. The final layer will have 1 filter of size 3 cross 3. This is what is going to be implemented as code right now. Whatever I told you is going to be clearly implemented, and understand our major focus on autoencoder is about encoding and decoding. That's going to be implemented through convolution here. That's why we call it convolutional autoencoder. And first stage we'll downsample it. Second stage during the decoder we will upsample it. Now you can see that the definition is available here, where you can see convolution 2D is used, 32 filters, ReLU activation, padding is set, and max polling is done after that. I go for the second round of convolution, 64 filters, activation is done. I go for max polling again, I go for final convolution, and now the decoder is built, where instead of downsampling there, we will go with upsampling, and that's the major difference that you need to spot. You can see that convolution followed by upsampling, and I return it. Now the model is created. What do I need to do? I need to compile it. Yes. How do you use it? You need to specify the optimizer. As I told you, we use RMS prop. I have got a summary displayed here, and you can see that it's all proper. And here is where I fitted. That complete training happens here. I specified everything out here already. Epochs are specified. Verbose is set. All these are done, and you can see that the 50 epochs are run, and it took about 1.5 hours for me to get this done in my PC, which has got a Intel i7 8th gen and NVIDIA graphics card is there. Now we are going to get the model trained on not MNIST for 50 epochs, and that's what is done here. We are setting the parameters loss, val loss, and we are going to plot it. That's what we are doing here. The plot is shown. This need not be done if you don't require that, but otherwise you can see that. And make sure that you develop a model which doesn't cause overfitting, because it might look like overfitting when you get the exact result as replicated as the input. Now, what is the next step? We are going to reconstruct and we are going to predict. That's what is happening here. The prediction part is happening here, and predicted the shape of it. And now I am plotting the figure for test images. You can see that it's a simple test procedure where I am going to get the test images plotted, and I have reconstructed it right now. So the reconstructed images are plotted, and do we see a difference? Both are same, right? Almost. So it has been nicely reconstructed, and this reconstruction has happened through the encoder and decoder, and we have pushed in convolution in between. That's what is the entire process all about, and you have completed it. I'll post this code also in my Git repository so that you can run this through to understand it little clearly. You might not understand this in the first floor, so listen to the session once again if you have not understood. And if you have any queries, please go ahead and type it in the comment section. I'll be able to answer you. Thank you very much for the support you guys are giving me. If you have any questions, suggestions, please go ahead and type it in the comment section. If you like the channel, please subscribe.